So yesterday we were looking at consecutive sampling. I told you about consecutive purposes sampling as well as volunteer sampling. We were looking at non-probabilistic types of sampling, how it is done, wherein not everyone will get an equal chance of being a participant or being a sample in the study. Today we'll look at some other types of non-probabilistic sampling, hopefully completed. First we have convenience sampling. Now convenience sampling, uh, इसको कंसेक्यूटिव सैम्पलिंग बोलते हैं, नॉट कन्वीनियंट सैम्पलिंग. कन्वीनियंट सैम्पलिंग ऑलरेडी हो गया ना. कंसेक्यूटिव सैम्पलिंग. Consecutive sampling is very similar to convenient sampling that we studied already. Convenient sampling में whatever is convenient आप वो subjects को ले रहे थे ना. Consecutive sampling में it will include all accessible subjects as part of your sample. ठीक है. In convenience sampling we were including everyone who was convenient to who was convenient to the researcher, whoever was nearby. Consecutive sampling में आप क्या करते हैं, whoever is accessible वो पूरे लोगों को ले लेते हैं. ठीक है. जनरली यूज फॉर स्मॉलर साइज, और सैम्पल साइज अगर आपको छोटा रखना है तो कंसेक्यूटिव सैम्पलिंग यूज करते हैं. ओके. एंड इसमें the sample is slightly better with respect to representation compared to all other non-probability sampling techniques. Samples that are taken through consecutive sampling has slightly better representation altogether. It's also called total enumerative sampling or total enumerative sampling. For example, mm, let us suppose a researcher wants to study activity pattern of post kidney transplant patients. Okay, you want to see what kind of activity do post kidney transplant patients have. So what the researcher will do is they will select all post kidney transplant patients who meet designated inclusion and exclusion criteria. Your inclusion criteria might be ages of 20 to 60, and maybe you are only including males and females, you're not including any other gender. And maybe you're not including exclusion criteria में आप pregnant women को डाल दिए, psychiatric patients को डाल दिए, meaning any pregnant women who are undergoing kidney transplant or psychiatric patients who are including kidney transplant वो पूरों को exclusion criteria में डाल दिया. You're not including them essentially. Once you have identified who will be who can be who will be meeting your inclusion and exclusion criteria, वो पूरे patients को आप एक hospital में जाके select कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. Any of these patients will be admitted in post transplant ward. ठीक है. After transplant they'll be kept inside the what do you call, in the hospital for about a month or so. Okay, you will not just let them go because uh, there'll be graft rejection reactions, तो उनका immunity suppress करके रखते हैं for a while. So what you do is you go to that post transplant ward, and during that specific period of time you are selecting those patients who are falling under your own inclusion and exclusion criteria. That will be your consecutive sampling. Everyone who is accessible वो पूरों को ले ले रहे आप, whoever is meeting your inclusion and exclusion criteria. ठीक है. Now यहाँ पर मेन मेरिट्स जो है, ऑब्वियसली देर इज वेरी लिटिल एफर्ट. आपको सैम्पलिंग करने के टाइम पे यू डोंट हैव टू गो आउट एंड सीक डिफरेंट सैम्पल्स. यू डोंट इवन हैव टू गो टू डिफरेंट हॉस्पिटल्स ऑल टुगेदर. as long as you have a post transplant ward in your hospital which has a sizable amount of population, the minimum population that is required for your sample. ठीक है. आप मिनिमम सैंपल साइज के साथ जाते, वो मिनिमल सैंपल साइज अगर मीट नहीं हो रहा तो थोड़ा बढ़ाते, बट एज सच मिनिमल से ही काम चलाते. And because of that it is not expensive as well, and it ensures more representativeness compared to other probabilistic techniques or other non-probabilistic techniques. Sorry. Main drawbacks of this is that there will be bias. ठीक है. Bias हो सकता, and sampling error आ सकता. There is no set plan also about the sample size. You do not have any set goal कि इतना sample size रखूंगा मैं. Whoever is appearing in front of you, you are taking them. Okay, let us suppose you go to a your post transplant ward and you find 50 patients. You will take those 50 patients and you'll perform your experiment, because you don't have any set criteria ki, okay, I will experiment on 100 patients, I will experiment on 80 patients, I will experiment on 90 patients. ऐसा कोई criteria नहीं रखे आप. Okay, you will go to the ward or you will go to the field, you will see how many samples are available. Whoever is accessible, you will take everyone and you will perform the experiment on them. As long as they are meeting your inclusion and exclusion criteria, it is fine. And results from this sampling technique cannot be used to create conclusions. As such, interpretations, especially pertaining to the entire population, you cannot tell ki, if you see, let's suppose in that same example, you are seeing activity of post kidney transplant patients, you are seeing it only in one hospital and in one ward of that hospital. You cannot make statements like so and so characteristics are represented by all patients in Hyderabad of kidney transplant. You are only looking at maybe one hospital or two hospitals in Hyderabad, so you cannot generalize in this. You can tell that ये area में या ये hospital में मेरे को ये दिखाओ, ठीक है. Generalizations cannot be made using consecutive sampling. Then there is quota sampling. Now, quota sampling, as the name suggests, you are creating quotas based on certain criteria. ठीक है. यहाँ पर the researcher ensures that equal or proportionate representation of subjects is seen depending on certain traits. ठीक है. They have to show certain traits, and based on that trait you are making quotas. ठीक है. So for example, the basis of quota can be age, gender, education level, race, religion, socioeconomic status. Based on any particular trait that you are looking for to perform an experiment, वो trait के basis पे आप quotas create कर रहे हैं. For example, let us suppose the quota is college level. You are only going to include people who are at college level of education. So let us suppose you are doing it in nursing college and you are looking only at sample, you're only sampling people who are at college level of education, not people who have graduated or not people who are under graduation, essentially who are at intermediate level. You're only specifically looking at those 4 years. उसमें भी आप क्या करते हैं, you will make sure that there is equal representation. So let us suppose your sample size is 100. You are thinking that you will put a sample size of 100. अब इसमें से आप क्या करते हैं, you will select 25 from first year, 25 from second year, 25 from third year, and 25 from fourth year, so that everyone has equal representation. ये जो quotas create कर रहे हैं आप, ये एक quota है, second quota, third quota, and fourth quota. Even though you know the sample size, you will make sure that your quotas are divided in such a way that each and every group has equal representation. ठीक है. Now, this sample is selected without random process from different quotas. एक एक बार आप एक बार quotas डालने के बाद उसमें से जब आप sample select करेंगे, that will be without any randomness. ठीक है. So the steps that you perform when using quota sampling, first you divide the population into exclusive subgroups. ठीक है. You make different subgroups. So for example, in this scenario I made subgroups of first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. वो subgroups बना देते. After that, the researcher should recognize proportions of these subgroups. You have to make sure that all of these are proportionate. मतलब आप subgroup बना दिए. Let us suppose in one college they are 500 first year students, there are 550 second year students. Maybe that batch had more students. This batch has 525 students, and this batch has 425 students. ठीक है, ये batch में कम आए समझो. Now, when you are selecting quotas or when you are making groups, you have to make sure that all of them are proportionate, all of them are equal. ठीक है. So आप एक एक में से equal number of लोग लेते. So let us suppose you are taking 25 from each, or you're taking 50 from each. You'll make sure that the proportion is maintained and they are somewhat equal or similar at least. Finally, the researcher will choose subjects from various subgroups. Now that you have made various subgroups, ऐसे 500 का एक ग्रुप बना दिए, 550 का ग्रुप बना दिए, 525 का ग्रुप बना दिए, 425 का ग्रुप बना दिए, उसमें से आप सैंपल सेलेक्ट करते हैं अपना. ठीक है, नॉन रैंडमली, बिकॉज यू हैव ऑलरेडी क्लासिफाइड देम बेस्ड ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर कोटा. अब उनके कॉलेज लेवल एजुकेशन के बेस पे आप डिवाइड कर दिए, उसमें से आप नॉन रैंडमली आप सेलेक्ट करते हैं. whoever you find is suitable to the this thing study, you will select those people. ठीक है. whoever is showing characteristics or traits that are significant for that subgroup. Let us suppose you are creating 4 subgroups based on their scores, math scores. Let us suppose you go into a school and you are creating 4 subgroups based on their math scores. So let us suppose the criteria that you are making is 80 to 100, 60 to 80, 40 to 60, and 20 to 60, 20 to 40. ठीक है, people who are obtaining this many marks in college, let us suppose in 10th class math, आप स्कूल को जा रहे हैं एंड क्लासीफाई कर रहे हैं, ऐसे चार सब ग्रुप बना दिया। इसमें आपको मे बी एक 30 स्टूडेंट्स आ रहे हैं आउट ऑफ लेट अस सपोज 500 स्टूडेंट्स, you are getting 30 students in this, you are getting maybe 70, or let's suppose rather than 70, most people are here, right? Let us suppose you are getting 100 students here, ठीक है, एंड यहाँ पर आपको एक 200 स्टूडेंट्स आ रहे हैं, तो कितना हुआ? इसको थोड़ा बढ़ा देंगे, 30 नहीं, let us make it 80, okay, so 380, यहाँ पर 120 स्टूडेंट्स आ रहे हैं। You have four groups now, or essentially you have four quotas, ठीक है, ये चार quota have been divided based on their marks. Now from this what you will do is you will select few people. Let's suppose you are selecting five from here, five from here, five from here, and five from here. This will be your final sample, ठीक है, these 20 people will be your final sample on whom you will select, you will perform your experiment, ठीक है, वैसा आप कोटास बनाते हैं, वैसा उसमें से आप सब ग्रुप्स में से सेलेक्ट करते हैं। Right. The main reason for choosing quota samples is to permit the researcher to sample a subgroup of very large interest. Okay, there is a very specific interest that you have in the study, or they have a very specific trait that they are showing with respect to the study, and only those people are selected. ये लोगों की जो selection हो रहा, these five people, they are specifically because they are completely merging with the study, or they are completely showing all the traits that you require for the study. Now these traits can be various. अब एक बेसिस लगा दिए कोटा का, फॉर एग्जाम्पल कॉलेज लेवल एजुकेशन होना, नहीं तो एक सर्टन अमाउंट ऑफ मार्क्स होना मैथ में, दैट इज योर बेसिक बेसिस on which you are making quotas. From that quotas, you are again making a few samples based on your inclusion and exclusion criteria. Maybe you only want to include students who know how to speak Hindi, or maybe you have certain inclusion and exclusion criteria based on your experiment, and वो experiment के basis पे ही आप लोगों को select कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। Now this is suitable for studies where field work has to be carried out, ठीक है, for example studies related to market या studies related to public opinion polls, वो पूरों में ये कोटा सैम्पलिंग बहुत अच्छा काम कर दी, बिकॉज यू विल बी कैटेगराइजिंग देम बेस्ड ऑन मार्केट वैल्यू, और यू विल बी कैटेगराइजिंग देम बेस्ड ऑन लेट अस सपोज आप मार्केट में जाके depending on different vendors, let us suppose there are different types of vendors who are selling different types of vegetables, तो आप अलग अलग कोटा बना रहे based on what vegetable they are selling, ठीक है, then from them you are selecting certain individuals who you think meet the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Now the demerits of this type of sampling is that although your sampling technique is not completely representative of the population, in certain cases there will be no representation altogether, ठीक है, very bias बहुत ज़्यादा bias हो जाता है इसमें, ठीक है, because you are specifically choosing certain traits, you will not be able to correlate it with the population. आप क्या कर रहे हैं, एक पर्टिकुलर इंक्लूजन एक्सक्लूजन क्राइटेरिया लगा के पहले ट्रेट का ही अलग कर ले रहे, बिकॉज एक पॉपुलेशन में सी यहाँ पर ही लेट अस सपोज मैं ऐसा ही एक स्कूल को गया एंड उसमें 10th क्लास के स्टूडेंट्स के अलग अलग मैथ के टेस्ट के मार्क्स देखा, 80 to 100 की थोड़े उनके मार्क्स है, 60 to 80 है, 40 to 60 है, 20 to 40 है। नाउ एसेंशियली आई हैव 500 स्टूडेंट्स, बट लेट अस सपोज आई एम ओनली सेलेक्टिंग 80, यहाँ पर आप representation नहीं दे सकते, these 80 will not be able to represent these 500, because these 80 represent good students, or at least students who are good at math. They are good or not is a different story, but they are at least good at math when compared to the rest of the students. When compared to the rest 420 students, these people are better, and they cannot represent the rest of the 420. अगर आप equally हर एक में से लेते then sample करते तो maybe, यहाँ पर आप क्या कर रहे हैं, एक में से ले रहे हैं एंड मेजर आप लेट सपोज इन दिस सिनेरियो अगर आप खाली वो 80 में से ले रहे हैं तो रिप्रेजेंटेशन बहुत बायस हो जाता हो, ठीक है। द सेम वे व्हेनेवर इवन आफ्टर क्रिएटिंग कोटास यू आर ओनली सेलेक्टिंग इंडिविजुअल्स हु मीट योर क्राइटेरिया, ठीक है, you will not see whether or not they are able to proportionally represent the whole of the population. You are only making sure that they are representing what you want to see इन द पॉपुलेशन, ठीक है। तो वहां पर आपको बायस आ जा सकता है एंड रिप्रेजेंटेशन नहीं आता, and it is impossible to estimate errors in this type of study. In quota sampling, it is impossible to estimate if there are any errors that will develop. Then we have snowball sampling. Snowball sampling में आप क्या करते हैं? This is used when the researcher wants to identify potential subjects, but those subjects are very hard to locate. ठीक है? For example, let us suppose there is drug abusers. ठीक है? Let us suppose you want to perform a study on drug abusers. Now it is very hard to find drug abusers as is. तो एक researcher क्या करते हैं, if they want to study the prevalence of drug abusers in or the prevalence of one particular usage of one particular drug amongst drug abusers. Let us suppose the what do you call your researcher or you as a researcher want to study the usage of, what should I put, phenytoin, let's suppose, rather than phenytoin, usage of diazepam, ठीक है, or usage of heroin among drug abusers. You want to find out amongst drug abusers how many people are abusing heroin. अब first of all, it is very hard to find drug abusers altogether, ठीक है, because no one will actively come out and tell I am a drug abuser. तो आप अगर आइडेंटिफाई करना चाह रहे हैं तो इन दैट सिनारियो स्नोबॉल सैम्पलिंग बहुत अच्छा काम करती है. Now when you have a when you have to study something which is very rare and you have very limited amount of people that are coming into your population, ठीक है, उसमें आप क्या करते हैं, रेफरल सिस्टम यूज करते हैं. दैट इज व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड स्नोबॉल सैम्पलिंग. इट इज आल्सो कॉल्ड चेन रेफरल सैम्पलिंग. चेन referral sampling. Now, the reason why it is called chain referral sampling is because you will identify only one of those people. आप क्या करते हैं, you will go to a hospital and let us suppose you find one drug abuser, ठीक है. Let us suppose that drug abuse nurse name is X, ठीक है. Now what you will do is you will ask X to refer to other drug abusers. Now generally one drug abuser will know other drug abusers, or at least they will know the supplier. तो आप क्या कर रहे हैं, वहां से यू आर ट्राइंग टू कनेक्ट टू मोर पीपल. सो आप क्या कर रहे हैं, इसका रेफरल लेके वाई से कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, वाई से जेड को कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, जेड से पी को कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, पी से क्यू को कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, अलग अलग लोगों को उनके प्रीवियस मेंबर के रेफरल से कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. कोई भी रेयर डिजीज भी है, लेट अस सपोज यू वांट टू फाइंड आउट people who have a certain rare disease and it is hard to find people who have those rare diseases. In that scenario, what you can do is identify only one person who has that rare disease and then ask that person to refer other patients. Okay, generally what happens is those people who have those rare diseases, they might be going to a support group or they might know people who have similar disease. Okay, maybe they have the same doctor or something or the other, they will know other people. तो आप क्या कर रहे हैं, you are asking that primary person to go and to refer you, or gives contact details of another person. फिर वो सेकंड पर्सन को थर्ड पर्सन का कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स पूछते हैं, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. यू कीप ऑन continuing a snowball effect. So snowball sampling itself has different types. First type is linear snowball sampling. Linear snowball sampling, प्रिटी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. अभी जो मैं एग्जांपल दिया था वो लीनियर स्ट्रेट स्नोबॉल सैम्पलिंग का था. मतलब एक इंडिविजुअल है, ये इंडिविजुअल सेकंड को रेफर कर रहा, सेकंड वाला थर्ड को कर रहा, थर्ड वाला फोर्थ को कर रहा, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. ठीक है, एक पर्सन एक को ही रेफर कर रहा. सो यू विल हैव अ straight chain going up with one person adding up every time a new person is identified. Okay, you yourself will have to identify the first person. After you identify the first person, you will ask that person to refer to another one, and the chain goes on. This is linear snowball sampling. Then we have exponential snowball sampling. Exponential में भी non-discriminative and discriminative रहते हैं. Exponential non-discriminative यहाँ पर नॉन डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव क्यों बोल रहे हैं एंड एक्सपोनेंशियल क्यों बोल रहे हैं? सो लेट अस सपोज यू आर फाइंडिंग फर्स्ट फेलो, ठीक है, one fellow who is meeting your traits, meeting whatever trait that you are looking for to perform an experiment. Let us suppose कोई rare disease है या drug abuser है या जो भी है, ठीक है, इनको आप क्या कर रहे हैं, यू आर आस्किंग देम टू रेफर टू पीपल इंस्टेड ऑफ वन, यू आर आस्किंग देम टू रेफर टू पीपल. सो इन्हों दो लोगों को रेफर करते हैं एंड अगेन दीज फेलोज विल रेफर टू मोर पीपल. सो यहाँ पर ग्रोथ एक्सपोनेंशियल है rather than straightforward linear growth रहने का, it is going up exponentially. So you can see from one person I got two more people, from two people I got four people, and so on and so forth. From four I will get eight, and so on and so forth. It will keep on increasing exponentially, and you can get a pretty large sample size using this method very fast. Okay, snowball sampling of, exponential snowball sampling mein, if it is non-discriminative, you can get a very large sample size this way. एक्सपोनेंशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव, नो दिस इज वो नॉन डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव था ना. लेट अस सपोज आई हैव डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव टाइप ऑफ सैम्पलिंग. एक्सपोनेंशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव टाइप ऑफ सैम्पलिंग में क्या होता, अगेन यू आर आइडेंटिफाइंग फर्स्ट पर्सन, वो स्टेप आपको करना पड़ता है एज अ रिसर्चर. यू हैव टू फाइंड दैट फर्स्ट पर्सन. आफ्टर यू फाइंड द फर्स्ट पर्सन, you are asking that fellow to refer to two people. ठीक है, let us suppose person 2 and person 3. First person है, first person is referring to person 2 and person 3. Here, only the, let's suppose the second person does not have any contacts and only the third person is referring to two people. तो यहाँ पर लाइन खत्म हो जाती, ठीक है. लेट अस सपोज यहाँ पर लाइन खत्म हो जा रही एंड दिस फेलो इज रेफरिंग टू person number 4 and person number 5. Now let us suppose person number 5 also does not have any more contact. यहाँ पर लाइन फिर खत्म हो रही. Person number 4 is referring to two people. And so on and so forth. यहाँ पर discrimination आ जा रहा. You are not expecting one of those members to be active. One person is giving an active reference, whereas the other person is not able to give any active reference. ठीक है, you have to make sure that at least one subject is able to provide an active reference, active further reference, so that you can ask them to give further references as well. The other person will be non-active. That is exponential non-discriminative snowball sampling. You are still creating snowball sampling. एक के reference से दूसरे को reference आ रहा, but यहाँ पर out of those two, only one person is giving an active reference, and again out of those new two people, one person is giving sampling. One person is giving this thing reference. ठीक है, that is how the chain continues. So 6 and 7 समझो, and this fellow again is not giving what do you call any reference. Let us suppose person number 6 is only giving reference. This fellow will refer to two more people, and so on and so forth. Okay, in discriminative fashion. These people are inactive. They will be part of the sample and they will be part of the experiment, but they are not referring to anyone. Okay, maybe they don't have the contact or whatever the reason is. Okay, they don't want to share or they don't have the contact. Okay. Now, the biggest advantage of this is that it will permit the researcher to reach populations that are difficult to sample. आप अगर ड्रग अब्यूजर्स को करना चाह रहे या HIV पेशेंट्स पे करना चाह रहे, ये पूरे लोग, इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू फाइंड देम. ठीक है, जनरली नो वन विल come out and tell I have so and so problem, or let us suppose you want to find depressive patients or जो भी है problem. So in that scenario it is very useful. अगर आप क्या बोलते हैं restricted populations को access करना चाह रहे तो snowball sampling बहुत helpful रहता. And this sampling requires very less effort from your end. You are only maintaining contacts and you are only making new contacts. You are asking that person, whoever you are selecting, to bring more contacts. ठीक है, आपका काम खाली maintain करना रहता है वो contacts को, and to make sure that they are included in the study. Now, demerits of this is that the researcher will have less control over the sampling method, because whoever is, अब जो भी आपका सामने referral आएगा उसको ले लेंगे आप. ठीक है, whether they are meeting your they will obviously meet your inclusion criteria, but even if they are slightly different, you have to include them. ठीक है, because they are a referral. एक person, अब आपको let us suppose the disease itself is very very rare. अब आप अगर exclusion criteria बहुत strict लगा दिए, in the sense that I will not include anyone who is above the age of 60, or I will not include anyone who is pregnant, or I will not include children altogether, in that scenario it will become troublesome to you, because you already know that the condition that you are studying is rare, And when you know that study, whatever condition you are studying is rare, whoever patient or whatever patient you get, you will include in your study. ठीक है, तो आपके इंक्लूजन एक्सक्लूजन क्राइटेरिया विल बिकम वेरी फ्लेक्सिबल. ठीक है, दैट इज वन प्रॉब्लम. आपकी आप आपका कंट्रोल नहीं रहता सैम्पलिंग मेथड पे, जो भी आ रहा आपको ले लेना पड़ता. ठीक है, एंड द सैम्पल्स दैट यू गेट विल चीफली be dependent on the previous subject that you had. ठीक है, whoever is nominating उनका ही से रहता, as such उनको ही मालूम रहता कि इनको इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, then when using the sampling technique, sampling bias is also pretty common. ठीक है, especially sampling bias is a matter of great concern because subjects generally nominate people who they are aware of. They will not see, एक पर्सन को मे बी एक पर्सन मालूम होगा या दो लोग मालूम होंगे, दे माइट नॉट नो अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल. सो जो भी मालूम है बस उनको ही इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, वेदर दे आर गुड बैड, वेदर दे आर मीटिंग योर इंक्लूजन क्राइटेरिया और नॉट, जैसा भी है आप उनको ले लेना पड़ता. ठीक है, तो सैम्पलिंग बायस आने का चांस रहता. आपको जैसा उन्होंने प्रेजेंट करेंगे, देखो मेरे को एनो मालूम है, इनको ले लो बोले तो आपको ले लेना पड़ता, बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव अ चॉइस देयर. ठीक है, the advantage is that you'll be able to get people who are rare, diseases which are rare, but the disadvantage is that whoever is coming in front of you, आप उनको ले ले रहे. Okay, then finally, one second, the last non-probabilistic type of sampling technique is genealogy sampling. Genealogy sampling में, as the name suggests, you are selecting members of an entire family. ठीक है, कजन्स रहने दो या डायरेक्ट फैमिली रहने दो, यू आर ओनली सेलेक्टिंग पीपल ऑफ वन फैमिली. ठीक है, एक फैमिली ट्री में से सेलेक्ट कर रहे हैं. आप जनरली ये कब करते, लेट अस सपोज यू आर trying to find people who are in a family who are of the same area, विलेज सेम विलेज या सिमिलर एरिया में है, सेम सोशियो कल्चरल या इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड है. ठीक है, वो लोगों को जब इंक्लूड करना है, लेट सपोज आप जेनेटिक स्टडी कर रहे हैं कुछ. ठीक है, या ट्रेडिशनल वैल्यूज पे, ट्रेडिशनल फैमिलीज पे सेलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो यू नो in this you will be able to perform a lot of you'll be able to find a lot of information with respect to one family altogether. ठीक है, एक फैमिली ट्री में कितना वेरिएशन इन जीन्स आ रहा, मे बी कितना वेरिएशन इन डिफरेंट प्रॉपर्टीज आ रहा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर एक फैमिली मेंबर में हाइपरटेंशन है, लेट अस सपोज there is one father and that fellow has four sons, or let's suppose son, 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 daughter, daughter, daughter. Okay, have six children. Now this fellow again has maybe two children, son and daughter. Let us suppose this fellow has again son and daughter. This fellow has three daughter, daughter, daughter. Let's suppose, or daughter, daughter, son. ऐसा है. अब इनके जो बच्चे हैं, अब इन ये लोगों में जब आप करेंगे जीनियोलॉजी स्टडी, यू विल बी एबल टू फाइंड व्हाट टाइप ऑफ trait that they are displaying, whether this trait is appearing here and it is appearing ये लोगों में, फर्स्ट जनरेशन, सेकेंड जनरेशन, थर्ड जनरेशन हो गया ना ये, तो मे बी फोर्थ जनरेशन कैन ऑल्सो बी इंक्लूडेड. यू विल बी एबल टू स्टडी हाउ दैट जीन इज मॉडिफाइंग, हाउ इट इज गेटिंग इवॉल्व ओवर जनरेशंस. दैट टाइप्स ऑफ स्टडीज में जीनियोलॉजी सैम्पलिंग बहुत अच्छी आती. ठीक है, now biggest problem is that it will not represent any population because you are only doing it in family, that too direct family, related families में ही कर रहे हैं आप. It has very limited usefulness. You cannot correlate the information at all to anyone else. खाली ये family members के respect से ही कर सकते बस. ठीक है, even if the family is very big, that population will only be the family members, no one else. So that those are all different types of non-probability sampling techniques. We'll continue on Monday. Okay.